Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Ghost Stories in Folklore. In this video, I am continuing on with my campaign of ghost stories at Christmas time. This is the second series of 3 videos featuring 21 Christmas-related ghost stories and folklore. What I would like you to do is leave a comment down in the comments section of the title of your favorite Christmas tale. So let's get going for the second set of 7 ghost stories from Christmas time. This one is entitled An Eerie Present Raised the Alarm. One Christmas I put my sons to bed, and with carols playing in the background, I was baking gingerbread cookies to put in my oldest son's stocking. While they were in the oven, I remembered the boys' Christmas stockings were still up in the attic. Retrieving things from the attic was their dad's job, but we were separated, and he had moved out 4 weeks earlier. So with great trepidation, I headed up to the attic to retrieve the stockings. On the rare occasion I had done so in the past, I had a strong sense of foreboding, as if there was a malevolent spirit up there. The moment I opened the hatch, I felt a chill, and I reached out for the stockings. I had the sensation of a cold hand closing over mine and something pushing me back towards the opening. At 4 a.m., I woke up with a start as the super king-size blanket was yanked off my bed and thrown to the floor. I could see no one, but it felt as if somebody was shaking me awake by the shoulders. From elsewhere in the house, I heard a banging noise and the scream of a child at deep breaths. Terrified my sons were in danger, I ran to the room and found my oldest son asleep and my youngest son laying on his back making a gurgling sound. His face was ashen, his lips blue, and he was struggling to breathe. I was a mental health nurse before having children, and realizing he was choking, flipped him over on the front and patted his back. He started coughing, and mercifully the vomit that was stuck in his throat began running out of his mouth. Shaking with relief and his breathing regulated, I wrapped him in my arms and called an ambulance. The paramedics checked all of his vital signs and he was fine. They told me how lucky I was to get him when I did, but I couldn't bring myself to tell them about the ghostly presence that had woken me from my deep sleep. I told their father, my family, and close friends. Trying to make sense of it, I got chatting about former residents to the elderly lady who lived in the adjoining house. She told me that 50 years ago a baby had died in his sleep in our house, and the parents, too distressed to carry on living there, moved out immediately afterwards. Could it be the ghost of that crying child that woke me up to warn me that night? Another tale I want to share with you, my friends, is the Christmas ghost of the Four Oaks Hall. The ghost story of Four Oaks Hall, sadly now demolished, is worth repeating. Elizabeth Pudley of Langley Hall married the owner of Four Oaks Hall, who died about 1742. Attached to her death is a mystery of mysteries, inasmuch as neither the date of her death nor the place of her interment has ever been discovered. It may be presumed that it was the ghost of this lady that haunted the hall every Christmas, which view was strengthened when the building was demolished and the workmen employed discovered a portion of what they took to be the remains of a human being bricked up in what appears to have been a closed window in the servants' hall. This was regarded at the time as a possible solution of the lady's disappearance and a satisfactory explanation of the haunting. Alas, however, the remains were those not of a human being but of a calf. Thus, not only was one mystery left unsolved, but another was created. Why was a calf bricked up in such an unusual situation? This next one is entitled The Bright Light and the Calm Watchdog. I had an unusual visitor on Christmas Day once, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Santa Claus passing by my house. The day started in a typical fashion with the opening of gifts around the Christmas tree. I served an early Christmas dinner for family and friends, and everybody departed by 5 p.m., except for my sister and brother-in-law who lived with me. They were sleeping in a bedroom at the end of the hall with their door open. I went into my bedroom with my dog Toby and shut the door securely. I was just dozing off when I heard the latch on my bedroom door open. I waited several seconds for my sister or brother-in-law to ask me whatever they came to say, but there was no other sound. This was almost 7 p.m., so my bedroom was pitch black. I had left lights on in the kitchen and the bathroom, and there were lots of Christmas lights on in the living room as well, so the hallway would have been well lit. I would be able to see whoever was at the door just by lifting my head. So I pushed the blankets down and lifted my head from the pillow, but just as I would have been able to see who was in the doorway, an extremely bright light hit me right in the eyes. I shielded my eyes and yelled, "Turn out that light! You're blinding me!" The light immediately disappeared, and I heard the bedroom door latch close. My bedside light is a touch lamp, so I tapped it on and looked around the bedroom. There was no one in the bedroom except me and Toby. Toby jumped off the bed and went to the door without showing any signs of alarm. At first I was frightened because Toby is a Dutch Shepherd, well trained to be an excellent watchdog and proven personal protection dog. Since Toby was already up, I decided to go let him outside and see what my sister or brother-in-law needed. When I went into the hallway, I could see both of them still in bed. I took Toby to the living room to let him outside, and there was nobody there either. So who was it that opened my bedroom door and turned on the spotlight on my face? Like most people, the thoughts of loved ones are always close at hand during the holiday season. When I forced to lie down, I was thinking how happy I was that my small family had enjoyed a pleasant Christmas. But it would have been so much better if my mother and brother had still been alive to share it with us. I would like to think it was my brother's spirit stopping by to say, "Merry Christmas, I still think of you too." I haven't been able to debunk this strange event or find any kind of rational explanation. I'm half afraid that my heart may have stopped during my sleep, and the light I saw was the bright light people report after near-death experiences. Leave it to me to see the stairway to heaven and ruin my chance at the eternal paradise by yelling at the light to turn off. So I made a mental note not to do this in the future, just in case. This next one is entitled The Ghostly Christmas Choir. One Christmas Eve night at about 3 a.m., I was suddenly awakened by a choir singing. The house was new construction, miles from the nearest church. I strained to hear any words that I could understand, or a tune that I could identify. I could not even understand the language of the tune. I did get a feeling of angelic exultation, reverence, and gladness of heart. This was truly a heavenly choir lifting their voices on high, singing Hosanna in the highest in an unknown tongue without accompaniment of instruments. I examined the television, but it was turned off, as was the radio. I explored outside, but the singing was not heard outdoors. The way the countless male, female, and children's voices entwined together, the tonals going from operatic highs to deepest bass voices in perfect harmony. It must have lasted about 10 minutes, but it was touching for an eternity. This next one is entitled The Christmas Church Ghost. I was playing hide and seek with the other kids. I was quite young then, so I always followed my older cousin around. It was in the middle of the night, and most of the kids were used to hiding anywhere in the dark. I wasn't used to it since I only visited there during the Christmas holidays. Since we were hiding in the graveyard, we all found our way around in the light that the church cast onto the graveyard. We all hid in the shadows and waited for one particular boy. We could hear him coming, so we all kept quiet. He was pretty loud, so we watched what he was doing and why he was making such a fuss. We watched as he walked into the church, as he thought his brother was hiding inside. As he walked in, he later told us he saw a boy standing right in front of the altar. He didn't know if it was his brother because the boy's back was turned. He ran up and tapped the boy on the shoulder. As soon as he did this, the other boy strangely disappeared, and our friend fainted. The rest of us ran home to tell our parents, and we returned with the boy's parents to find him still laying there, not moving. His parents took him home, and we never played in the graveyard at night ever again. We later found out that the boy's brother had been at home the whole time, and he hadn't been at the church at all. What really scared us was that boy who fainted has been ill ever since that night, and he still hasn't recovered to this day. Whoever it was in the church must have been pretty mad that us kids have disturbed him. This next one is another report of a haunting that happens at Christmas time, and it is called the Headless Horseman at Roos Hall. Roos Hall lays claim to being one of the most haunted houses in England. The 16th century hall has a number of sinister connections, including a gruesome hanging tree, an oak tree planted at the site of an old gibbet where numerous criminals were hung. To make things even spookier, my friends, inside one of the building's cupboards, the mark of a devil's cloven hoof is said to be imprinted. But perhaps the most dramatic haunting is supposed to happen every Christmas Eve. Legend has it that a headless horseman clatters down the driveway with his 4 black horses, pulling a phantom coach, terrifying anyone who witnesses him. This tale is entitled The Apparition of the Murdered Highwayman in Kent. One Christmas Eve near the close of the 18th century, a notorious highwayman named Gilbert is said to have stopped a coach of horses on the Harkhurst Road in Marden, Kent. The coach contained a young lady and her father, and Gilbert ordered them out onto the road. Just as the girl stepped out, the horses bolted, taking the coach and her father with them. The young lady was left alone on a dark road with the highwayman, and as she looked into his face, she recognized him as the very same highwayman who had murdered her brother some years earlier. Horrified, she drew a hidden knife from her bag and stabbed Gilbert in the side, fleeing into the bushes. When the horses were calmed down and the coach returned a little while later, the men discovered the bloody body of the highwayman and buried him at the side of the road. When villagers found the woman in the forest the next day, she had gone completely mad. They avoided the spot in the road for many years, and it is said that every Christmas Eve, the bloody scene is silently replayed to all who pass through. Thank you to my friends, and I hope you enjoyed these ghost stories at Christmas time. Please don't forget to enter the title of your favorite ghost stories from this video down in the comments section. And remember to catch the other 2 videos of more ghost stories. Like this episode of Ghost Stories and Folklore, be sure to hit the like button. And if you would like more videos from Panity videos in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell for notifications. If you dare. Ha 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 ha!